name is Michael Waters. I'm an attorney with a law firm called Polsinelli. I co-chair our privacy and cybersecurity practice. A big part of my job is counseling organizations on how to comply with data privacy laws. I also help a lot of organizations in preparing for and responding to data incidents. It's something I've been doing for 19 years now. So data privacy and cybersecurity are related. Cybersecurity is actually a component of data privacy. Data privacy relates to the acquisition, storage, handling, sharing, and use of data. And cybersecurity refers to the protection of that data from hackers or other unauthorized access. So for a lot of developers, data privacy and cybersecurity may be an afterthought, which is not surprising. Oftentimes, it's not a core component of the product that's being developed. And to spend time on something that's not a core component may seem like a waste of time or slow the speed to the market. However, it's really important to focus on data privacy and cybersecurity early in the developmental process for a few reasons. One, legally, organizations are required to protect personal information. Second is more and more we're seeing business customers demand or expect that vendors or third parties that they're working with are taking steps to protect data. And then if you're not protecting data, you obviously may wind up having a data breach or a data incident of some sort, which can impose liability on the organization. It can also be a pretty significant PR hit, which is something that particularly new organizations don't want to deal with. Because there are so many laws, one thing that's really important for businesses to do is to give some thought as to whose information they may be collecting through their product or their service, where those people are located, and how that information is being used and shared. And if you're at a point in development where you don't have answers to those things yet and don't know perhaps what laws apply to you, you can at least give some thought to some general privacy principles that we see kind of spanning across a lot of laws, such as there's a decent chance you may need to let people know what data of theirs you possess. You may need to give them a copy of that data. They may ask you to destroy that data, and you might have an obligation to do so. And you need to protect that data. So you just want to make sure you're lined up when you're developing products to do all those things. So those same laws that we discussed, a lot of business customers are subject to them as well. And some of those laws require organizations to ensure if they're sharing information with a third party, that that third party is protecting information. For example, in the healthcare space, hospital systems, healthcare providers are subject to HIPAA. Part of HIPAA is that if they receive patient information and share it with a third party, they need to make sure that third party is also complying with HIPAA and protecting that data. And as a result, those healthcare providers are going to want assurances that your organization is complying with HIPAA. Your contract with them is going to basically attest that you're complying with HIPAA. And knowing that in advance will put you in a much better position to be ready to respond to those requests for information. So it depends somewhat on the scope of the data breach, where impacted people are located, who is impacted, who owns the data. But generally speaking, if you do have a data incident that results in someone accessing or acquiring people's personal information without authorization, you may need to let them know. You also may need to let industry regulators know, and sometimes state attorneys general or other enforcement agencies. And if the incident is large enough, you could certainly be subject to class action lawsuits or other litigation. And a lot of those regulators will also investigate the incident once you provide notice to them. And they oftentimes will not only investigate the incident itself, but use the incident as an opportunity to investigate your compliance with data privacy laws. For example, again, in the healthcare space, any incident that impacts 500 or more patients is subject to investigation by the Department of Health and Human Services. And when they investigate, they will not only ask questions about the incident, but they will use the incident as an opportunity to audit your HIPAA compliance. So they will ask you for certain HIPAA policies and procedures. They may ask you for evidence that you've trained your employees on HIPAA. They'll ask you questions about the technical security controls that you had in place. So you want to be in position to answer those questions. So it has been in the news a lot lately, and if anything, it's actually underreported. And so a lot of our breach notification laws are focused on providing notice to people when their personal information has been accessed or acquired. In some ransomware incidents, data is just encrypted. Nobody's accessed it or acquired it. And as a result, oftentimes what we'll hear in the public is somebody's network is out or they're experiencing IT issues. What we don't hear is that they're dealing with a ransomware attack, but they're happening all the time. We're just one law firm, and we probably see 3, 4, 5 ransomware attacks every week from our clients. It's happening that often. Knowing it's happening that often, organizations should do a few things. First is if you have viable backups, there's a much less likelihood you're going to have to make a ransom payment. So air gapping or somehow segmenting those backups is important. Having security protections in place, such as multi-factor authentication, can significantly decrease the likelihood that somebody gets into your network. And then just giving thought as to how you will handle a data incident by preparing an incident response plan and training employees is important as well. A lot of people have probably heard of the concept of privacy by design or security by design. The thought is that rather than wait until the product is fully formed before giving thought to data privacy and cybersecurity, you bake it into the design process. And knowing that there are data privacy laws out there, knowing that business partners are going to demand that you're focused on data privacy and cybersecurity, and knowing that data breaches are such a prevalent problem, you really want to start focusing on privacy and security early in the process and not wait until you have a fully finished product before you start thinking of those things.